Hi guys, welcome back to Undefined Life. It's Tash here. So today we're talking about the powerful practice of journaling. And in today's video, I'm going to be discussing what exactly it is, why it's so powerful, and then giving you a couple of tips on how you can journal effectively. I'll be honest, I did not understand the point or purpose of journaling for many, many years. I probably only truly started to kind of mind the benefits of the practice late 2020, early 2021. And it is now a regular part of my spiritual practice and my self-healing practice. But I just didn't understand what the point was. Why would I talk about my day? I lived my day. I don't need to re-experience it in writing. And so if you're in that place, you don't understand what journaling is, or you don't really understand how it's beneficial because you're not getting any benefits, this video is for you. So let's start with what journaling is. And in the simplest terms I can think of, journaling is diary keeping for adults. So if you were a child and you kept a diary, and that diary had all of your deepest, darkest secrets, the guy that you had a crush on at school, that teacher you fancied, what you really thought about that person, how you really felt about that experience. I did not keep a diary as a kid. I was a real creative writer, and I found writing about my own life very mundane. So I was not a diary keeper as a child, but lots of people did keep diaries as children. And that diary was kind of a representation of a safe space, a place to share the innermost thoughts and feelings of that person in a way that felt safe and non-judgmental. And that, my friends, is really the point and purpose of journaling. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's just an adult diary. The semantics are different. The point and purpose is pretty much the same. So your journal is a space for you to share your innermost thoughts, feelings, observations, insights, downloads, questions. Anything that arises in your consciousness that feels important to acknowledge can be shared in your journal. Now, as well as being a safe space for you to share your innermost thoughts, feelings, observations, etc., your journal is also a space for you to get really clear, concise, and coherent about your goals, your visions, your dreams, and your desired manifestations. So your journal is a container to support your inner work and self-healing practice. And the great thing is you can decide on a day-to-day basis how it can best serve you. There's no one fixed way you need to journal. It is a very intuitive and subjective process depending on what you need from it at the time. But there are a few things we can do that make the journaling process more effective. So let's embellish on that, because I really want to talk about why journaling is such a powerful and impactful tool for healing. So to dive deeper into this, let me first introduce you to my journal. And the reason I'm presenting my journal at this time is so you have a physical representation of the energies that I'm about to speak of. So in order for you to get the most out of your journaling practice, in order for it to be a truly powerful experience, your journal has to feel like a safe space, okay? Your journal is a container, and within this container, you feel safe enough to share, to express, to explore. So when it comes to the energetics of your experience in journaling, your journal is the masculine container. The healthy, empowered masculine is represented by feeling safe, held, by presence, by feeling protected. Your journal is a physical representation of that. Okay. And the feminine, the healthy, empowered feminine, only truly feels safe to express and to be in her full authenticity when she feels safe. So for you to get the most out of your journaling practice, you want to create a relationship with your journal that feels truly safe and supportive. So you could think about your journal as you would your closest confidant. Your journal is a space where you don't have to hold anything back. You can express in any way, and there is no judgment here. You are supported to show up just as you are, and you're accepted in that way. And that's what makes this a truly powerful practice, because once you create a relationship with your journal where you feel safe to start showing up in your full authenticity and expression, that's where it gets really, really juicy. Because when we feel safe and when we trust the experience we're having or the person we're with, we feel safe enough to be honest and to show up in our truth. And that, my friends, is the magic of journaling, because our truth is revealed to us through the journaling practice, as well as all of the distortions and obscurities that mar our truth, the limiting beliefs, the fear-based programming, the conditioning, the shadow unconscious aspect. They all begin to emerge when we form this relationship with our journal that is truly nourishing and supportive. I would argue that journaling is one of the best shadow work practices that you can adopt. And I mean, considering that all you really need is a journal and a pen and a little bit of time to self-reflect, it's a really cost-effective and easy way to start the self-healing shadow work practice. So in order for you to really reap the benefits of this practice, let's just run through a few tips that you can apply. The first thing I would say when it comes to journaling is to invest in a journal that you actually like and care about. Now, I have two different notebooks with me at this particular moment. I have my journal and I have the notebook that I use for my coaching and mentoring sessions. Now, this is just a pucker pad from Tesco, and it's very effective at what I need it to do, which is note taking. However, it doesn't inspire me. It doesn't really do anything for me. I'm a real stationery geek. I always have been. I worked at Paperchase for a while. I love quality stationery. I love quality pens. I love using products that inspire me. And this doesn't really inspire me, but I do feel very practical when I'm using it. Not really the vibes we want to go for when we're journaling. And that's one of the key ways to start building a relationship with your journal. Picking a journal that actually feels exciting to you, so that when you go to journal regularly, it doesn't feel cumbersome, it doesn't feel burdensome. It feels like something you're excited to do, or it feels like something that is safe to do. If you don't like the journal you're writing in, you're going to have less incentive to do it as a practice. Because let's be honest, when we're doing inner work, it's hard enough moving through challenges and shadow and unconscious limiting beliefs, etc. So we may as well make the job as easy as we can for ourselves and create environments and situations that are conducive to us doing the work. Buying a journal you like is essential. This is from a brand called Dreamkeeper. I think I got it on Etsy as a Christmas present. And the reason I liked it so much, like my inner child geek coming out now, is that it reminded me of the book from The Never-Ending Story. And when I was a child, I was like 4 or 5, I think, I kept asking my mum if she could get me that book. And as a kid, we would go to the local shop. It was like a Tesco Express, but it always had a book bin. And every time we went to the local shop, I would look in the book bin to see if the Never-Ending Story book was in there. It never was, funnily enough. However, when I saw this online, this really appealed to my inner child. So straight away, if something appeals to you, either aesthetically or, you know, in a tactile way, you know you're onto a winner, because there's some draw there, there's some magnetism there, there's something about your consciousness that already feels attracted to and safe working with that tool. So that's my number one tip. Buy a journal you actually like. Even if it means spending a little bit more money, you're investing in your inner work, you're worth it. So my second tip in terms of how to journal more effectively is shifting how you approach the journaling process. So for about 4 years, I was on and off journaling. And this was the time when I just couldn't understand what the point of it was, because I was just writing my day out in my journal. So, you know, okay, today I got up, I ate this, I did this, I met this person. Not only was it really fucking boring when it felt pointless, I wasn't actually getting anything from the experience. I was just recalling my day. So I would encourage you to shift from pragmatic, logical, checklist style, this is what I did, you know, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, to actually, how did the experiences you had throughout your day make you feel? This is when we start to get into the healing territory, when we shift from the intellectualization or the conceptualization of an experience to the feeling. You may have had a multitude of experiences in your day. Rather than bullet pointing everything you did, can you run through your day in your mind and pull out the experiences that evoked an emotional reaction or a feeling-based response in you? And that can be positive or negative. What evoked something within you, and begin to work with that. I've actually recently been speaking to a friend about journaling who has been journaling in that very formulaic way of, this is what I did, and a bullet point of everything I did in my day. And he said exactly the same thing. It doesn't feel effective. It doesn't really feel like he's getting anything out of it. And so when we start moving into the embodied experience, i.e. the felt sense experience, that's when we can really start to begin to uncover the magic and the juice of our experiences, because feelings are the thread that lead us back to that core truth, expression, fear, limiting belief, etc. So follow the feelings. The third thing that I would suggest is really using your journal as a space for self-inquiry. So questions are very powerful when it comes to the journaling experience. I will often start journaling on an experience and just kind of dump kind of a reflection or an overview of how that experience made me feel and what it brought up. And then I will start the process of self-inquiry. So if, for example, I felt insecure about an experience, I would write about that. And then I would start asking, what exactly about that experience made me feel insecure, or which part of the experience triggered me? And then I would go through, I would feel it out. I would recall the experience in my mind. I'd feel it through in my body, and I will start to begin to deconstruct the experience that way. Self-inquiry is a really good way of deconstructing our experiences. So we go from the level of the conscious mind, what we know consciously, and we start to be able to kind of enter the realms of the subconscious mind and the unconscious realms. So again, this is why journaling is so powerful for shadow work, because when we truly begin to, with honesty and gentleness, begin to deconstruct our experiences, we will often begin to uncover things that we weren't consciously aware of through the process of self-inquiry and self-reflection. So the fourth and final tip that I want to share with you is just to remind you that there are really no rules when it comes to journaling. You don't have to say anything in a certain way. As someone that really enjoys writing and is naturally very creative in my writing style, what I found is that when I was initially writing in my journal, I was writing it as though someone else was going to read it, and I was trying to make it sound, flowery in the vocabulary, and I was trying to make it sound really readable. You're not writing this for anyone else to read. This is your real, honest, authentic experience expressed in writing. So you don't have to ham it up. Allow it to pour onto the page in a way that feels real for you, okay? It doesn't need to sound fancy. That's a big, big tip in case you're someone like me that likes to articulate and often overcomplicate in writing. But I will give you a suggestion if you're not sure where to start. So for example, morning journaling is a really good way to start your day, or it can be a great thing to add into your morning routine. So if I journal after I first wake up, I will often try and recall my dream, because I'm really interested in the dreamscape. I think there's a lot of wisdom in our dreams and a lot of messages to be mined from the dreamscape. So I will often try and recall the dream to strengthen that memory and recollection. And then I'll go over feelings that the dream kind of catalyzed within me, any themes that I've noticed, any animal or nature symbology, and generally kind of try and come to my own conclusion about what the dream was communicating to me, because there are lots of schools of thought that suggest that the dreamscape is just, again, another mirror or aspect of our consciousness. So it's, how does the dream relate to me, my current experience, etc. So I will journal about my dream. I might take stock of how I'm feeling energetically. So how have I woken up? Have I woken up with any bad juju, with any heaviness? Do I feel light, buoyant? So I'll just kind of take some time to scan through my body and notice what's present, and then reflect on that to become consciously aware of my present moment state. And then it's a really good time in the morning to also set intentions, either for the day or to reaffirm intentions that you've already set previously. If you're manifesting something, for example, it could be a really good place to reaffirm what you're calling into your space. So for me, I'm calling in more wealth, more financial abundance. I'm calling in a connection to my inner masculine container, so feeling safe and supported within myself. So at the moment, I'm really reaffirming knowing that I feel safe, that I feel supported, that I can hold myself in my journal and in my day-to-day experience. It's also really nice to end the day with a journaling practice. That can be a really nice activity to do either before or after meditation, just to begin to wind down from screens and also to really just, again, draw back the energy back within and to check in within ourselves and see how are we doing, where is our energy at after the day, were there any parts of the day that felt particularly taxing for us energetically, anything that really uplifted us, any areas that triggered us throughout our day, and exploring that in more detail. The journal is just a really great tool for us to begin to develop self-awareness and for us to really begin to understand our inner world in a way that doesn't feel as abstract. So I hope this was helpful for you. If you journal and you've got any tips, please share them in the comments below. If you're not already subscribed to my channel and you like this type of content, hit the subscribe button. Lots more content to come. And come and join me on Instagram @undefinedlife. I look forward to connecting with you again really soon.